Ram. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Kacharya Ashtotar Kashi Srimad Abhay Charan Arvindam Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Nanta Kori Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Iskan Viviti Samstavakacharya Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mahapurnamadi Dham Ki Jai Gangamaya Jamunamaya Ki Jai Shrimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Shrimati Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Huh? What verse is this? What verse you doing? Huh? No regular receivement. Why? You should do verse by verse. Prabhupada wanted verse by verse. No, hardly anything. Okay. All right. Hare Krishna. We are fortunate to have here His great Bhima Prabhu. He's doing easy Bhaktivedanta from Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhuji is also the BPT trustee. Srila Prabhupada wanted his books to be distributed widely so that more and more people can come to the Srila the Supreme Law. So that's why Prabhupada made the ISKCON under the BPT. BPT has separate entity and Prabhuji is
like this. And also Prabhuji inspires devotees to distribute lot of books, and all the books which we get is from there only we get the also Prabhuji was serving for a long time in the ISKCON bureau also, and he has rendered a lot of service. And Prabhuji is based in Juhu, Mumbai, and every year when we would go for the youth camps, we would get to hear from Prabhuji in the Juhu, and very inspiring. And through his simple life, Prabhuji inspires many, many devotees across India and the globe. So we are very fortunate that Prabhuji is there today here to give his valuable association today and tomorrow. So let us express our gratitude by chanting Hare Krishna mantra once.
Hare Krishna. So reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized, text number 48. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tattva Dhananjaya Siddhya Siddhyo Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchate Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tattva Dhananjaya Siddhya Siddhyo Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchate Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tattva Dhananjaya Siddhya Siddhyo Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchate Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tattva Dhananjaya Siddhya Siddhyo Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchate Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tattva Dhananjaya Samatvam Yoga Uchate
Yogastha Kuru Karmani
Yogastha Kuru Karmani
Tyakva Dhananjaya
Sangam Tattva Dhananjaya Samatvam Yoga Uchate Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tattva Dhananjaya Siddhya Siddhya Samo Bhutva Yogastha equiposed, Kuru performed, Karmani your duties, Sangam attachment, Tattva giving up, Dhananjaya Arjuna, Siddhi Asiddhyo in success and failure, Samaha equiposed, Bhutva becoming, Samatvam equanimity, Yoga Uchate is called. Perform your duty equiposed, O Arjun. Abandon all attachment to failure and success, to success and failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Purport. Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is that yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. And who is the Supreme? The Supreme is the Lord. And because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. The following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga, and this is practiced in the process called Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness only, one can give up the sense of proprietorship. One has to become the servant of Krishna, or the servant of Krishna. That is the right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and as such, he's participating in the Varnashram Dharma institution. It is said in the Vishnu Puran that in the Varnashram Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Vishnu. No one should satisfy himself, as is the rule in the material world, but one should satisfy Krishna. So unless one satisfies Krishna, one cannot correctly observe the principles of Varnashram Dharma. Indirectly, Arjuna was advised to act as Krishna told him. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Gadim Yat Kripa Taraham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Paramanandamaravam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So Arjuna is being advised by Lord Krishna that you should do your duty. So some people are confused about what their duty is. Some are thinking that if I just do my job, that's my duty. But we learn here that the real duty of the living entity is to serve Krishna. People are thinking that their real duty is to serve something else besides Krishna. Serve the family, serve the country, serve the samaj. Right? Just like where I am coming from, St. Louis. When I became a devotee, there were no Indians in St. Louis. No Indians. Now there are many Indians. They even have what they call the Telugu Samaj. And there's a Hindu temple built by one Dr. Naidu, Telugu. So people think I should serve my Samaj. Whatever it is, Gujarati Samaj, Marathi Samaj. So these are all incorrect. We are meant to serve Krishna. And ultimately all this, my family, my country, is actually sense gratification. What we're saying is, I want to serve my senses. Serve my senses means either my own senses or my extended senses. Extended sense gratification means the senses of my wife, my children, my community, my country, I should serve. This is called extended sense gratification. So this kind of rendering of service cannot make anyone happy. If you serve your senses your whole life, at the end of their life, they'll still not be satisfied. They'll demand more and more and more. The family man, he has his children, he's serving his wife and children. But even after the children grow up, it doesn't stop there. They have children. Huh? And then the children say, hey, Dadu, up, dekhiye, you please watch them, we're going shopping. Right? Never stops. Goes on and on. But our real duty is to serve Krishna. And you can do that from any platform. You can serve Krishna. Arjuna was a Kshatriya, a military man. But Krishna is engaging him in his service. How? Krishna wanted to lighten the burden of the world from the demoniac so-called Kshatriyas who are not performing their duties properly. So he arranged this Kurukshetra battle. So in the beginning, Arjuna didn't want to fight. He was saying to Krishna, if I kill all my relatives, my cousins, my teachers, my grandfather, even if I win the kingdom, who will I enjoy the kingdom with? But these are all considerations of not fighting based on sense gratification. But Krishna's message in this verse and the essence of the Gita is, you perform your duty for my pleasure, because I'm telling you, Krishna says, therefore you perform your duty. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, our Acharya, we're coming in line from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada. So we learn from them. If one is not learning from the acharyas, then that simply will create a disturbance. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, he was a householder, he had many children, but his point was that none of these things belong to me. This family is your family, right? This house is your house. I'm sitting here simply as your manager. Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays. This should be the mentality. Everything, near mama, nothing is mine. If nothing is mine, then who belongs to everything? Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. With this mentality, then one can become equiposed. Right? The word here used is yogastha. Samatvam. Yogastha, samatvam. Today people are not equiposed. They're steeped in the bodily concept of life. They're thinking that they are the body and everything in relation to the body is theirs. So they can't be equiposed, they can't be samatha. They can't be steady, yoga sta, means steady in yoga. They'll always be flickering, the mind, right? Bhagavatam refers to it, manoratena, the chariot of the mind. If you have a chariot, you control the chariot by the reins that are on the horses. But if the reins are out of control, not in your control, then the horses will run wild, and you're in a very dangerous situation. So yoga means to control the indriya, the senses. And how to do that is Krishna is giving the secret. He's giving a hint to Arjuna. And that is to do whatever you're doing for the pleasure of Krishna. You can be a military person, right? Kshatriya, there's 4 orders, 4 varnas. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So any one of those you can perform if you do it for the pleasure of Krishna. Right? Sometimes the misunderstanding of varnashram is that Shudras are untouchable persons. You can't go where they go. But look at Vidur. Vidur was born as what? Shudra. Huh? When the queens, the princess would marry, along with her would come many maidservants, her friends, maidservants. And sometimes the king would unite with them also. And from those issues were called Dasiputra. So Vidur was like that. Right? And but who was Vidur? Vidur is a great devotee. And in the Bhagavatam, there's a whole section of the Bhagavatam where Vidura is hearing from Maitreya. Actually, he wanted to hear from Uddhava. Uddhava was the relative and close friend of Krishna. He even looked like Krishna. He was steeped in love of Godhead in Dwarka. Because he always had tears in his eyes and he was shaking and dancing, they used to call him the madman of Dwarka. But he was mad with love for Krishna. So Uddhava's intention was to hear from, Vidura's intention was to hear from Uddhava. But Uddhava directed him, no, this Maitreya, he has heard the Bhagavatam from Krishna himself. He's been instructed by Krishna. When he was instructing me, Maitreya was there listening. So you hear from him. So Vidura was a devotee of Krishna. So it doesn't matter what your birth is. That's not the important point. Sometimes they used to criticize Srila Prabhupada, these even his own godbrothers, and how you can give Brahmin Diksha to the foreigners. Said like that. The Prabhupada's point to us, there's many examples. If you are born in a Brahmin family, but you're doing the work and have the qualities of a Shudra, then you're Shudra. And even if you're born in the family of dog eaters, Chandala, if you have the qualities, you're doing the work of a Brahmin, then you should be considered as Brahmin. So there's a misunderstanding of what Varnashram is. Therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati talked about the Daivi Varnashram. The collapse of the Varnashram system is when the higher castes stopped having the qualities of the higher caste and simply were thinking that they're a higher caste by birth alone. But that's a foolishness. If I'm born, my father is a Supreme Court judge. Am I automatically Supreme Court judge? Because I was born, my father's Supreme Court judge. Can I say I'm Supreme Court judge? No. You have to be trained. You have to have the qualities, right? In the same way, one should never consider that just because I'm born in a Brahmin family, I'm a Brahmin. You should have the qualities. And where is the Brahmins today? Huh? They're all doing the job. Isn't it? Go to college, get a degree, and do the coding. Oh yeah, I work for Microsoft. Oh really? What's your name? Sharma. Brahmin. But not Brahmin. Coding means what? I don't know. But Srila Prabhupada is so kind. He's giving everyone an opportunity to become a devotee of Krishna. That means a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is not a simple thing. Only you put tilak, kantimala, and have japa, then you're a Vaishnava. No. Very high level thing, be a Vaishnava. Tranadapi sunichena, turanapi sahisnuna, amanena manadena, kirtaniya sadhari. But the Vaishnavas, they're even higher than the Brahmins. Brahmins mean mode of goodness. They've come from the lower modes of ignorance and passion. Everyone in Kali Yuga, Kali Sudra Sambhava, everyone is a Sudra by birth. Why? Because there's no Garbhadana Samskar. No Samskars proper. In Kali Yuga, everyone is Shudra. But one can be raised from this lower modes of ignorance and passion to the mode of goodness. And from the mode of goodness, one can be elevated to the position of a Vaishnava. It's not an external thing, it's a condition of the heart. And that is that one has the consciousness that I must serve Krishna. Whatever happens, I must serve Krishna. Arjuna had so many excuses not to serve. There'll be Varna Samskar, Varna Sankara, the women will be unprotected, the children won't grow up properly if we kill all these. So many excuses. When actually he was meant to surrender to Krishna. And in the end, Arjuna did surrender to Krishna. So we can learn from this verse, we should perform our duty. But what is that duty? That duty is to serve Krishna. And we begin the service to Krishna by chanting his holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. And because we have real senses, and the senses require engagements, so there are so many ways that we can render service to Krishna. In the beginning, we can dovetail whatever propensity that we have. Like when Srila Prabhupada started in 26 Second Avenue, the Krishna consciousness movement, he engaged the devotees according to their propensities. Like Jadharani. Jadharani knew how to paint. She was an artist. So he had her paint a picture of the Panchatattva. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas. Together, this is called the Panchatattva. And Srila Prabhupada said that worship of the Panchatattva is all that's required for developing your Krishna consciousness. When I first joined the St. Louis Temple in the year 1973, that's 50 years ago this year, all there was a picture of Panchatattva. Right? And we were chanting and dancing in front of the Panchatattva. And Srila Prabhupada said, that's sufficient for self-realization. Right? The Yuga Dharma is Harinam Sankirtan. So if you perform that Yuga Dharma in front of the Panchatattva, then you can get the highest position, which is to become a Vaishnava. So, people worship the demigods without proper knowledge. The demigods are all understanding that they're devotees of Krishna. Lord Shiva is known as Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, the greatest of all the Vaishnavas. Durga is known as Vaishnavi Devi. She's a Vaishnava. And they all know that their duty is in relationship to Krishna, to render service to Krishna. Krishna is our closest friend. We think that my neighbor, who's my neighbor? But our closest neighbor is Krishna. He's in our heart. Sarvasya chaham hridisani visto. I'm in everyone's heart, Krishna says. So Krishna knows he's always with us, and Krishna knows everything about us, but we're not very much interested in him. You can imagine. Someone's living next door to you. Every day they see you, but they don't say hello. They don't say hi. At least you would think in the morning, good morning, sir. But they don't even do that. Then what you'll think, this person is not very friendly, not a good neighbor, right? But we do everything with Krishna the same thing. We get up, brush teeth, get a cup chai, go toast, go to work. Don't even recognize our closest friend, Krishna. Can you imagine? There was one gentleman, his name was P.L. Shetty. He's in the Lilamrita. Who knows about P.L. Shetty? No? Okay. So he was the one in Hare Krishna land when the municipal corporator, he hired gundas to break the temple. This was on a Friday. So their plan was break the temple and then on Monday go to the court and get a stay order. Stay order means then the devotees won't be able to rebuild the temple. This Avinash Matre, the corporator, this was his plan. So they came, they broke the temple, the devotees, they harassed the devotees. One Mataji, Maitili Mataji, she protected the deities. She wouldn't let them come near the deities. So then Mr. P.L. Shetty, he was in the construction business. He heard about this and he came on the scene. So the idea was that they had to rebuild the temple before Monday. So when the stay order came, stay order would be the temple is there. If the stay order's, status quo is no temple, then you can't rebuild it. But if it's there, then the status quo will be they can't touch it. But then these gundas were coming. So he told his son, P.L. Shetty, bring my shotgun and all the cartridges. So his son went home and Juhu got the banduk, brought all the cartridges, right? And then the gundas came. So the gundas were saying, there was about 20 or 30 of them, and they were saying, don't build it. And he said, we will build it. He said, then we'll come with 40 men and break it. He said, you come with 50 men because I have 50 cartridges. Or you come with 50 men. And those gundas became afraid and they never came. The devotees were able to build the temple, and on Monday it was completed. They went to the court, got a stay order, and the status quo was the temple is there. So, Mr. Shetty, although he never took initiation, he completely surrendered to Srila Prabhupada. And the way he realized that Srila Prabhupada was his guru, he had heard about the devotees in that were staying at that time in Akash Ganga in marine lines. And he went there to see these foreign devotees, and he heard that Srila Prabhupada was there. So he went to meet him. And the devotees brought him to Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada was talking to Mr. Sethi. He's Punjabi from Chandigarh. And he asked him, what do you do in the morning? And he said, what do you mean? He said, no, what do you do when you get up? Well, I have, 2 pieces of toast and a cup of tea. And like that, he was describing his morning. So after he described his morning, Prabhupada said to him, so what is the difference between you and a pig? And Mr. Sethi was shocked. And immediately, this must be my Guru. So from that time, he was completely surrendered to Srila Prabhupada. And whatever he did, whatever Prabhupada asked him to do, he would faithfully carry it out. So this is what's required. Arjuna was bewildered in the beginning. He was thinking of things in terms of his sense gratification. That we have to give up. And think of things in relation to what is pleasing to Krishna. And how do you understand? Because Krishna gives the Guru. And the Guru advises on the basis of what's pleasing to Krishna, how to please Krishna. And the first thing that we understand is to chant the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Now Prabhupada says that in Kali Yuga, some people will chant Manushanam Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhaya. Out of thousands, a few will chant, but many will not chant. So for them, we have the Varnashram, right? How to have a proper engagement, either as a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, right? And teach them how to perform their duty for the pleasure of Krishna. This is pleasing to the Lord, with the aim that gradually they can come to the platform of chanting the holy name and rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna. Because without this, one is destined to sink down again into the animal kingdom. Right? We came from there. At some point, we were in the lower species of life, and now, fortunately, we've come to this human form of life. Right? There's 84 lakh, 8,400,000 different species. And we've gotten this human form of life after being in all these species. So this human form of life is very rare. And it's not meant to simply be wasted in animal propensities of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, but rather it's meant to be used in the service of Krishna, to learn how to develop love for Krishna. In fact, Shastra says, don't become a parent, don't become a guru, unless you can deliver your dependents from the cycle of birth and death. Because this is the purpose of this human form of life. And it's the purpose of this Krishna consciousness movement. So this temple, nice temple built, when I first came here, there was just that building in the back. Now there's a nice temple here. But what makes this temple different from any other building? Right? I saw some churches and some other places. What's different is that here there's a process for becoming a devotee of Krishna. And that begins by hearing. Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Hearing about Krishna, chanting the holy name of Krishna. Right? This will create a revolution in the heart. What is that revolution? The revolution is that one throws out this concept that I can enjoy separately from Krishna. That's the revolution. Just like in India, they threw out the British Revolution, threw out the British. In America, they threw out the British too. So in the same way, we have to throw out from the heart this false concept, the aham bhogi, I am the enjoyer. Right? This is a demoniac idea that I am the enjoyer. We're not the enjoyers. We're prakriti. We're meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. As long as I'm trying to be the enjoyer, then only thing is suffering. Dukkhalayam. Unhappiness. If anybody's unhappy, why? Because we're trying to be the enjoyer. You want to become happy? Give it up. Give up trying to be the enjoyer and serve Krishna. Use your senses to try to bring pleasure to the senses of Krishna. And there's a prescription for that. It begins by chanting, hearing about Krishna. Why you want to serve Krishna? Because Krishna is great. He's very great. Right? Just like people want to meet the Prime Minister. Modi, 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 Modi. Right? Why? Because they heard he's doing great things, right? So they want to meet him, they want to get that picture with him. So in the same way, we have to hear about Krishna. How Krishna is great. Who's Modi compared to Krishna? Huh? And that is called Sambandha Gyan. The spiritual master gives Sambandha Gyan. He gives knowledge about Krishna, how great Krishna is. If you listen to the lectures of Srila Prabhupada, again and again, he's explaining how Krishna is great. He's not an ordinary person. In modern days, they try to make Krishna ordinary. They bring Krishna to their level. No, not like that. When Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, he did so many fantastic things. And because the demons, they can't accommodate that, the impersonalists, they say that those are all just stories. Right? Even big personalities, they comment on Bhagavad Gita. Right? They say, if there ever was a person called Krishna, they don't even have faith. They use the words of Krishna. They explain their own philosophy, but they don't even believe that Krishna existed. This is the situation. So yes, Krishna existed. Krishna did fabulous things. As a small boy, he lifted Govardhan Hill. Whenever there's a reciting of Srimad Bhagavatam, the professional reciters want to immediately jump to the Ras Lila, thinking that the activities of Radha and Krishna are just like ordinary boys and girls in this material world. But no, there's a gulf of difference. So that's why Srila Prabhupada, he would instruct every evening there would be class in Bhagavad Gita. Right? Because Bhagavad Gita is, we can understand how Krishna is great. How Krishna is great. He's not an ordinary living entity. So in this wonderful temple, you should have Bhagavad Gita class regularly and hear how Krishna is great. And when you understand that Krishna is great, then you'll think, oh, let me serve him. Krishna is so great, let me serve the Krishna. So we have real senses. The senses require engagements. And we need to engage our senses in the service of Krishna, hearing about Krishna, speaking about Krishna, seeing the form of Krishna nicely dressed in the temple. And in this way, when our senses become purified, then we can understand who is Krishna and our relationship with Krishna. And we all want to have that. We're all looking for that relationship. That relationship now is lost. Our original identity is that we're pure spirit souls. But just like when today it was raining when we came from the airport. Rain comes down, it's pure, but when it hits the ground, it becomes mixed up with the mud. In the same way, our consciousness, our original consciousness, is pure. We understand that we're the eternal servant of Krishna. But when we come in contact with the material energy, then we become contaminated. And that contamination is that I think I'm the enjoyer. Right? This is my house, this is my family, this is my community, this is my country. Like there's a war going on in Israel, right? And Gaza. And one side's thinking Palestinian, the other side's thinking Jew. They're fighting. But they don't know. Last life they were Jew, last life they were Palestinian. Now they're killing their relatives. Yes. The foolishness. We're a soul. The body's only temporarily. I'm inside. Right? Like if you get out of a Toyota and get into a Maruti, so that makes you Maruti? No. Only the vehicle. We shouldn't become confused. We're eternal spirit soul. Our real identity is the service of Krishna. So this verse, Arjuna is trying to understand how to work in this world and not be attached. Right? If success, it belongs to Krishna. If failure, that's Krishna's desire. But our duty is to perform that activity. And in that way, we'll become steady in our devotional service, and gradually we'll come to the perfect stage of being devotees of Krishna, and at the end of this life, go back home, back to the spiritual world. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your time. In the beginning, we were talking about satisfaction. So we should be satisfied. And the satisfaction is only for Krishna. So, my question is that
No, we can feel satisfied when we serve Krishna. If you're trying to satisfy your senses or serve your senses, then you'll never feel satisfied. You'll never be satisfied. Only when you try to satisfy the senses of Krishna, then you can be satisfied. You'll feel satisfaction. Trying to please our own senses, our family members' senses, this will never make us satisfied. And they'll also not be satisfied. But if you serve Krishna, if you try to satisfy and please Krishna, not only you'll become satisfied, everyone will become satisfied. Prabhupada gives the example. If you want to put water on the tree, and you try to put water on each leaf and each branch of the tree will dry up. You have to supply water to the root. In the same way, you have to supply water to the root cause of everything. That's Krishna. When you satisfy Krishna, then everyone becomes satisfied. Just like you put water on the root of the tree, all the leaves get water. All the leaves become satisfied. When Krishna's on the altar and everyone's glorifying, bringing nice foodstuffs for Krishna, everybody becomes happy, isn't it? Right? If I stand on the altar and everybody brings foodstuff, someone will come with a stick and say, "Get down, I'll be there." Right? Because in the material world, there's so much jealousy and envy. Right? But because Krishna is great, we're not jealous of Krishna. We're not envy of Krishna. Right? Because Krishna is great. If you understand how great Krishna is, Prabhupada says we can test our Krishna consciousness. If we're jealous, if we're envious, then we're not Krishna conscious. Vaishnav means no jealousy, no envy. We're not envy of anyone. Material world, if something bad happens to something, I get happy. That's material world. If somebody has something I don't have, then I'm envious. That's the material world. A Vaishnava is not envious of anyone. They're unhappy to see that people are suffering due to a lack of knowledge, due to agyan, due to ignorance. And they try to do something to enlighten them, to help them come out of the ignorance. That's why Srila Prabhupada so much emphasized book distribution. Because if somehow or another people can get one of these books, then their life in the material world is over, finished. Prabhupada said even if they read one word, one line, it's over. They're going out of the material world. So therefore he used to tell us, distribute books, distribute books, distribute books. Okay? Very good. Any other questions, comments? Yes. Microphone.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about the Anand. So how it can be the stepping stone for the by following Varnashram.
Sure, Varnashram is there. It's meant for the to please Krishna by following the prescriptions of the different varnas, and that way you can please God, right? And people gradually come to being pious, right? As long as they're not following anything systematically, they'll never be peaceful in the mind. Huh? They'll always be agitated. Manda sumanda mateo mandabhagya yupadurtaha. So, unless you're peaceful, unless your mind becomes unagitated, it's very difficult to execute the devotional service. So the Varnashram institution, if it's set up properly and people follow it, they can at least be peaceful. And from that peaceful position, they can take the next step to perform devotional service by chanting.
So even from the what
Yeah, sure. Even if they perform their activities of labor for the pleasure of God, they'll be elevated. They can be elevated to the point where they can begin to chant. Then when they chant, they become devotees. They're no longer Shudras. They're devotees, right? But unless they can, be peaceful in their consciousness, nicely perform their activities for the pleasure of Krishna, then it's very difficult for them to come to the next stage.
So
And a devotee can do anything for Krishna. It's not that the devotee can sweep the floor, clean the bathroom, because it's for Krishna. But you can't think that this devotee is a Shudra. Then that's your mistake. Because he's chanting the holy name of Krishna. Whatever he does for the pleasure of Krishna. Kulavecha Sridhar was selling the banana cups. But he was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya used to go to his house every day and bargain for the banana cups. And Kulavecha Sridhar would argue, why I'm a poor man, why are you bargaining with me? I'm already selling so cheap. And Mahaprabhu would say, no, give me cheaper. Supreme Lord interacting with his devotees. So to think that this is Shudra, that's a mistake. But no one can know who is a Vaishnava except for a Vaishnava. We'll misunderstand. That's why so many people go and listen to the Bhagavad Katha, Shapta, Bhagavad Saptaha. Where in the Bhagavatam Krishna said, anybody said Bhagavad Saptaha? Maharaj Parikshit heard for 7 days because he only had 7 days to live. But Shuddha Goswami says, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. That Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya means daily. Daily. Hear Srimad Bhagavatam daily. So, anyone who lives nearby the temple comes to the temple and hear. Then we'll understand Krishna is great and we'll want to serve Krishna. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna, let us express our gratitude to the Prabhu. Tomorrow morning also we have the opportunity to take Devotees Association in the morning. Srimad Bhagavatam at 8:30 from GPU. So all the devotees can take advantage of Prabhuji's presence. And now the prasadam is there in the phone meeting. You just take prasadam. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.